Today we are going to learn loop. I think loop is myself believe is the most important like function in any programming languages, because usually we want the program to do something, maybe like to do a 1,000 or a million jobs for us, and this kind of thing, like repeated doing something for us, we need to use loop. Basically just ask the program to do something over and over again. And so, for example, actually many algorithms are based on loop, because we just want to do it, make it to every all these kind of repeated work quickly. So for example, we want to just print out something to screen for 100 times. Maybe we have 100 students in the system and we just want to print out all their names. We can just run this program like for 100 times, just each time use a different student name. But the thing is, if we just write 100 statements, that's like tedious, right? It's 100 lines of just want to print out something. But instead, we can use this loop, this function called the while loop. So basically, we declare a counter, like something, declare a variable to count how many times the statement has already been done. And at the beginning, this 0 means nothing. I mean, nothing is printed out to the screen. And while this counter is less than 100, we just print out something, like do the statement, welcome to Java, print it to the screen. And since we already do it once, we can increase count by 1. Count plus is just a count equals to count plus 1, right? So this while loop will just do this system out print line, this statement for our repeatedly until this count reaches 100, which means we have already print out this statement for 100 times. And since count equals 100 and this count less than 100 is this comparison is not correct. I mean, it's not true. So the while loop will stop. So this is how while loop really performs. So the syntax for while loop is like this. So the loop condition, continuation condition inside the bracket here tell the while function like if it should perform the statement inside the curly brace. If it's false, so this loop will end, and if it's true, so the statement inside it will be performed again. So we can just using something to like a condition or a counter to determine if we should stop this while loop. And yeah, then in this example, the count less than 100 is a condition we need to met in order to perform everything inside this curly brace. So another example, if we just want to add up 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9, the 9 numbers, we can just use a while loop. And this time, instead of using count, I use this variable I to represent how many numbers has already been added up to the sum. And actually, because this I is a count number, it's also the number from 1 to 9. So we can actually just add I each time to sum, and also increase I after the statement. This way, we will just because I is less than 10. So when I reach 10, which is larger than 9, the program will just stop and output the statement after that, the sum of all these 9 numbers. So if I revise this piece of code, I just remove this I++, and so make it to this program. Is it correct? It's not correct, right? Because at the beginning I equals to 10, I equals to 1, and I is less than 10, and I just added to sum, but I doesn't change in this whole process. So I is always equals to 1. So this statement is always true, and the program will just run continuously forever, doesn't stop. So in a loop, we have to make sure the loop can stop at certain condition. It cannot just just do it forever. So this case study, so let's see an example. So we just read a program that randomly generates a number between 0 and 100. We can use that math.random to generate this number. And the user can also input a number. And we just check if the user input number is the same with the random generated number. If it's the same, we will see something. If it's not same, we just generate another number again and again until the user gets that number. So let's see how we can do it in using programs. So you can see I use scanner here to scan the number that the user input. And here I use a while loop to continuously generate this number. So oh, actually, I made a mistake here. So yeah, so I generate a random number here, and I ask a user to input a number, but all this thing is before the while loop. So actually, the guess number is fixed, and the random number is also fixed. So so when it go into this while loop, of course, at the beginning it will compare. If it's the same, if the guess number and the user number is the same, because the number is the same, so we don't need to continue anymore. But else, if the guess number is larger than the random generated number, the program just print out something to the screen, and it doesn't change anything, right? So this is the guess number is still the number the user inputted here, and the random generated number still is here. Everything is not changed. So if you the while loop will do it continuously, and so let me just revise this one. Actually, we can just because we want the user to guess a number that's the same with a random generated number. So we have to, if it's not, we can actually do it like this way. Let's see if it works. Oh, yeah, I need to do it. Also do it here. Okay, now it's correct. So so previously I didn't change the guess number inside the loop, which means the guess is always the same, and the random number is also the same. So the user cannot change it. He or she can only guess for once, and if it's not correct, it's that the program always say you are not correct, you are not correct. But what we want to change the guess number to make sure the user can guess that specific number. So I just copy this input line into the while loop. So this time, if the guess number is larger than it, I ask user to input the number again. And otherwise, if it's smaller, I also need to input it again. until the guess number is the same with the random general number. So you can see from the program here, for my first guess is 1 is too low, and second guess 5 is still too low. Second time I change it to 8, and it matches the random general number, and the program just stop, says the answer, like the number is correct. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I think maybe when I revise this script, I remove that statement. But yeah, this is an example saying that we can actually using while loop, just do something continuously until it matches this condition, which is here, the guess number is equal to the random general number. So yeah, this is actually last week we talked about how to make a program. Like we need to figure out what is the input and what is the output, and how we can just solve this question. Here, the input is just the user enter number, which means we need that scanner. And of course, we need to random generate that number at the beginning so that we can do some comparison. And the program loop continue, the condition here, which stop the loop, is the number matches the random general number. So yeah, just every time when you face a new problem, you can just using this input operation and output, using this 3-step to figure out how to solve this problem. Yeah, once you figure out all these 3 steps, the remaining part is just how to make that program runnable to solve any grammar errors or something like that. So yeah, so the key to design a loop is to figure out which specific statement need to be continuously performed. And once you figure out the statement, and also need to figure out what is the condition that need to end this loop. That's it. Just these 2 things, and you will solve the loop question. And another way is like that previous example where we use this thing called no, not here. So we use it. Here we use a continuous loop. We use a Boolean type to determine if it stop and off or not. Actually, if you maybe in future you learn C or any languages, usually they will define this thing called flag. Basically, it's something that instead of using a comparison to compare 2 numbers the same, we can just using just a Boolean number to determine how to when to stop the loop. And as long as you have some statement inside the loop to change the flag to false, and then that's it. The program will end properly. So by the way, please don't use floating point values for those equal comparisons in the conditional, as the condition that stop the loop, because we know that floating point is not accurate, right? So it could be something, a very small number. So 0.5 would be something like 0.5001. So you can always get a false statement if you compare to floating point. So similar to while, we have this this kind of function called do while. It's very similar, except no matter if this condition is true or false, it will always do the statement for once, and then they check if it's correct or not. So it is sometimes it is useful. For example, you just want, no matter what, you just want to do something like do a calculation or so. But anyway, these 2 statements are basically very similar. You can just convert the code from one to another, just some additional statements. So So this is this Slido is anyway. So this is a simple test. What do you think is sum after the following loop? I mean, following piece of code. At the beginning, sum is 0, and we use a do while statement and add something to atom. And if this condition is met, we continue, and otherwise we add atom to sum. So what do you think this program will output? This could be a like a question in your midterm exam. I mean, the midterm exam will consist of questions similar to this one. So of course, you can just copy it to a Java compiler and compute the results for you. But you should be able to solve it just by hand or just by reading this script. I will give 3 minutes for everyone to think about this. Yeah, the continuous statement, it actually works specifically to this while loop. And although it's inside the if statement, actually it will just stop everything behind it and do something continue. So yeah, because sum is larger than 4, so it just continue to the next loop without performing the statement after that. So yeah, he is correct. Yeah, I haven't used continue for a long time. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, just reach to the next loop. Yeah, if it's break, it will just stop everything and finish the loop. So let's see another example. Suppose the tuition for Agoma is like 10,000 a year, and it will increase like 5% each year. So what will the tuition be like in 10 years? So we know that the equation is like this, right? Just increase there like 5% each time and multiply to the original base tuition. And because we want something in 10 years, so we need to repeat this program like for 10 times. Finally, because we already calculate we knew the tuition at that time, we can compute the 4 years tuition based on the results. So so let's see. Yeah. So yeah, this is that script for that tuition problem. So we want to compute the tuition for next 10 years. And yeah. So like this question, we want to compute the tuition for next 10 years if the tuition increase 5% every year. So we can use a loop to do this kind of job. Basically, at the beginning, the tuition is 10,000, and each year it multiply by like increase 5%. Oh, this is a problem we want to solve. Okay. Yeah. Like this is assuming it will increase, but I don't know how much money it will increase, but yeah. So we can solve this problem using a loop. Just because we want something in 10 years, we just do it, repeat it for 10 times. And so because we want also this question ask like total cost of years of tuition after the 10th year, which means we want the 10th year, the 11th, 12th, and 13th year's tuition. So we need to do another loop to compute the remaining like the year's tuition and add up to the sum, which is a total tuition for 4 years. So yeah, that's how we solve this problem, just using 2 loops. So we have learned while loop, and actually another more like popular or more widely used loop is for loop. It has this specific format. So like initially, you need to define something to control how many times the loop need to perform. And of course, there's a continued condition to determine if we should do it. And after each iteration, the change to the initial like variable actually is inside the for loop. So rather than the while loop, we just we do it everything like in one single statement. We will just put everything inside one statement. Like for so let's see an example you can see. So similar to the while loop, but this time we just put everything inside this parenthesis. At the beginning is equal to 0, and each time we increase 1 to this counter, and until it reaches 100, and this is not, it's false, and the loop will stop. So this for loop is just another way to write a while loop, but looks more clean and everything just in one single statement. And of course, each time this statement will be performed. So we can also using some like a complicated variables to determine the condition. See this time ij two variable to determine it, and I mean increase I and j each time. Of course, you can also increase ij in different like situations. Ij is a variable that determines like when to stop the loop. The loop is do something for like maybe for many times, right? But you need to tell the program when to stop that loop. And ij is the thing it determines. For example, here, this example, like I is 0, j is 0 at the beginning, and each time 1 is increased to these two variables. So when ij both equals to 5, I plus j equals to 10, and this is not correct, and the loop will end. So this is just yeah, you can use any kind of thing. You can just for example, you only increase I here, not increase j, but increase j in some condition using like a if-else statement inside the loop. So to make everything more complicated. So by the way, this is actually correct, even though nothing is here. I mean, this if I don't have something, for example, that yeah, actually this kind of this sometimes you just want to make it easier. You don't want to finish the for loop. You can just sorry. This one? No, it doesn't mean 0. It means I just do something forever. But I can use an if statement. Like for example, if I run it for 100 times, break, and then it will break. So that's a way to use this kind of question. I mean statement. Just I mean, if you are lazy, you don't want to write down everything inside here. Some people do it like this. That's also another way. Yeah. So if this I mean these are two coding pieces. What do you think? Are they the same? I mean here is I like plus I, and this is I plus plus. Actually, this is the same because although like I like plus I mean the sequence how do I say so this is like we add something to I first and then use this variable, and this is like we use this variable and then add something to it, but actually there's no difference here because either way these two should be performed and then do that this I less than 10 to do that comparison. So this is equivalent, these two coding pieces. So we have learned the while loop and the for loop, and also do while loop, but like which one to choose? So actually, I think it's just based on personal like preference. Which one you like, you are more familiar with, you can just use it. Because I mean, no matter it's a while loop or for loop, you can always just convert them to another type. But you're generally, because for loop, you may see it more like widely used because it's neat and everything is inside the curly brace. Inside that parenthesis, so it will be easier. And do while is only used if something you have to run that statement for at least one time. Do while might be used for if you need to solve that like coding questions on some like interview or something, because usually if you have this kind of question, to make sure you use do while loop. But usually in daily life, you can always just using the kind of loop you like. Yeah, you just use a loop that's most comfortable for you. So there are some typical errors. For example, we know every statement in Java need to end by a semicolon, but for loop, we don't need a semicolon. So and also this is also not correct because it's a for loop with two curly braces, and that's like a coding piece for loop, and this is not it's grammatically incorrect. And also for the while loop, this is not correct too, because we don't need a semicolon after that. But actually, the do while loop, it needs the semicolon after this statement. But of course, it's just a simple like a syntax error. If you just miss that, the compiler will tell you a semicolon is missing. You need to include it. So yeah, so there are many errors actually in these coding pieces. You can see there is a semicolon which is not correct, and yeah, there's another semicolon which is not correct. But here actually a semicolon is missing because it's a statement, and this is not correct. We don't need it. But for do while loop, we do need a semicolon here. So yeah, that's common. Just let the compiler tell you where the error is, and you can fix them easily. So another interesting, like, oh, by the way, we have learned loop and while loop. Any question about these kind of functions?
Is in the lab, I'm gonna do all this, I do it, so you're gonna explain all, because I think I'll get it more grasp on it if I'm doing it, not just.
Yes. Yeah, the lab was designed to like similar to the our assignment. You will just get questions like this one, like I showed previously.
Sorry.
Assignment Friday.
This Friday.
Yes, Friday 11 p.m. I think.
Can you show me where the assignment?
Moodle. In Moodle, there is a block called assignment. You can see assignment. We have the first assignment, and just you can see the deadline, Friday 11 p.m. And you can just download the file, PDF file. If you just I think there is a PDF file. Yeah, just click here. You will download that file. Yeah. So oh. Yeah. So because we we can do loop do something like for many times, of course, and we can do loop the loop for another loop, just do something like repeatedly, nest all these loops. For example, here in this first loop is do for 10,000 times, second loop another 10,000 times. So then all 3, 4 statement will just perform this action for like I don't know, 10,000 multiplied by 10,000 by another. Yeah, right. So this is very common. Like so, for example, I want to print out a table here. It has 9 rows and 9 columns. So I can use the first variable to represent rows and J to here to represent columns. Yeah, just simply repeatedly output something to the screen. This because this kind of table is like a matrix, right? So usually we do something simple matrix calculation. We just using nested loops to like go through every element in that matrix and do something. Yeah, just like this way. Yeah, n row, yeah, m row n columns. Yeah, just 2 for loops and perform anything to the element in that matrix. Yeah, we will learn like a multi-dimensional array, which is a way to represent matrix in Java in the, I mean, at the very end of this lecture. So this is correct. I mean, if you're just using flow point in for loop, but sometimes it will like raise some errors because although it's just because like for example float and double, their precision is different. So although these scripts are very similar, but the first one use float number and second one is double type number, so the result will be different. Although it's all the same, but the accuracy behind the program is different. So making that the two program will end up in two different conditions. I think I have a yeah, let's see. I have this script here. You can see.
You're recording all this, right?
Yes. You can see the two code actually their results is different. The second one stopped earlier, and the first one just repeat again, do another calculation. So yeah, actually, we have already learned, I think, everything about coding. I mean, although we have the method section, the array section, of course, they are very important. But actually, with these first 5 chapters, we are able to like solve many complicated questions because we already knows everything about how to write a program. It's just I mean, solving a question is more like how we can use the knowledge we learned to solve that question. So on Wednesday, we will have a tutorial session. Basically, I will be here, and also I will give a few like 3 questions to tell you how to solve them. Those questions are all come from the textbooks, and it will be in your lab. The lab instructor also will use similar like question, and also in our like final exam, it's just similar question, just different format. So yeah, feel free to come, or if you you have no questions or it's too easy for you, yeah, you can just skip the tutorial session. Same time during the course. Yeah, I will first like using some examples to solve you these questions. And if you have any question in your, I mean, any other question for the 3 questions I chose, or maybe another question you pick up from the,
That'd be great.
yeah, from the textbook. Yeah, yeah. So I think so let's see another example. So actually, this can also be solved using loops. So have you ever solved this kind of question in math? Like find the greatest common divisor?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can just find the greatest common divisor by 2 number just using loops. So the idea is like the greatest common divisor is just I mean, a number less than the minimum number between the input, I mean the 2 input number. Actually, more accurately, it should be less than, for example, the minimum number divided by 2, because it's a common divisor, right? So so we need to input the 2 numbers, and we need to iteratively check if if these numbers are the common divisor, and finally we need to output if it's correct. So here we input 2 numbers, and assuming the great common divisor is 1, we just check from 1 all the way to the number less than is minimum of them 2. So just check them one by one and finally find out that. I mean, this is very this is like a stupid way. There's nothing like mathematically to help you better find that great common divisor, but we can just use programs to make it easy. Sorry? Previous slide? Like this one? Yeah. So a great common divisor, because it's a divisor, it has to be smaller than these two numbers, right? So of course, it could be equals to 1. For example, the great common divisor of 4 and 8 could be 4, right? 4 is equals to 4, but no matter it's what number, it has to be smaller than both of the two numbers. So we just check every possible number smaller than them and to check if it's a common divisor. And each time we just, if we find a greater one, we just keep it. And after the iteration, we will know which one's the result we want. So there's another example similar to the previous one. It will include in the slide. I will upload later, and you can check. I mean, do some exercise if you want. Oh yeah, I should put this slide at the beginning of the earlier. So break can be used to like provide some additional controls. So break will just break that loop. Once this statement reaches, we can just stop it. So that's why we can just put true here, just stop something based on another additional condition inside the loop. And so continue instead will just continue the next loop. It still runs these things. Yeah, it's only appropriate, or it's better if it simplifies the code. But yeah, just feel free to use whatever you like. So I think. So yeah, I will discuss this question like in a tutorial session, and also I might bring a question from this website. Have you ever heard about it? Yeah, this is LeetCode is a very popular website for job hunting, because those especially those large companies, they usually will give you some coding test as the first round of the interview. So, and the question will be similar to all these questions on this website. For example, yeah, these are usually, I mean, during the interview, they will just give you like a description, how to solve the question, and they will give you some examples and what example input, example output, and you need to finish the script or at least the pseudocode to make sure, like to let them know you understand this question, you can solve this question. So LeetCode is a website for you to test your like skills. It might be too earlier for you, but I will show some example next on Wednesday, like how, because in the end, if you want to become a programmer, especially in a good company like in Google or Amazon, you have to practice this, like yeah.
Very bright ambition. I want to work for a video. Does it come with coding and stuff like that?
I think so. Yeah, basically, as long as it's a programmer, no matter it's a data scientist or a software engineer, they just
videos.
Yeah, they will have. Yeah, they always have, because it's like a gate. Like if you can't solve these questions, they don't care about you. Like that's the very basic thing. Once you finish the data structure course, you can try to solve question, because all this problem here is all about data structure. Oh, and also actually LeetCode has this weekly context. So I think Yeah, you can see the interview crash course. They also offer courses to like help you solve it. We have a contest every week, and it basically give like a 5 hours of 4 or 5 questions. If you won, like maybe first or as maybe I think even if you like run like a hundreds in this context, you can just write it on your resume, and the reviewer know you are really good at coding. Yeah, that's another way to showcase your skills in a job application. Yeah, yeah. Of course, you have some gift for these winners. Yeah, that's all for today. So this question I will discuss on Wednesday. We can use loops to solve this question, and it's also a question on LeetCode. Yeah.
So on Wednesday, you'll be free for tutorials and I'll be able to ask you anything I want.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just have to bring my laptop with Java on it and then we'll start.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, you can just type.
Thank you so much for that.
No problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will have these kind of tutorials after study week. We will have also a teaching assistant help